this thing that I'm going to share with you will get you to your goals, or the absence of this thing will keep you broke and fat and in a shitty relationship.
Welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show.
This is the single biggest factor that will determine success in anything you do. Hey guys, welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show. I'm Bedros Keuilian, and today I've got a great episode teed up for you, and it is a single factor that will have the greatest determining factor of success in anything you do. Doesn't matter if it's health, fitness, relationships, or building your business. I'm going to give it to you. But first, I want to talk to you about how I almost died. And so some of you might know that I own a ranch, a 26-acre ranch in beautiful Temecula, California, with my dear friend and business partner, Dan Fleischman. And Dan and I bought this beautiful 26-acre ranch a couple years ago, and we're like, man, we're going to have an experiential events on there, and we're going to have a whole bunch of people come to it. So we've built like an obstacle course on there, a lake, a wedding venue, Airbnbs. In fact, the real Tarzan, if you follow him on social media, he lives on property, and he's got over 200 animals there that we've rescued. It is a beautiful place, man. Many of our friends have their masterminds and coaching meetings there, retreats, like I said, experiential events, you name it. Well, as I told you, we also rescue a lot of animals, and some animals that we rescued were some Highland cows. If you don't know anything about Highland cows, they're beautiful, giant cows, but they also look like they have a toupee on their head. And so one of these cows apparently was pregnant and gave birth to a baby calf. And the little fucker's name is Pickles. And Pickles, we put him in a different part of the ranch. And the reason we put him in a different part of the ranch is we didn't want the bigger cows to be abusive towards him. Obviously, mama was giving him milk and all that stuff. But other than that, as he got a little older and he didn't need milk, he just needed hay, we just put him in a different part with the smaller animals. Like we've got little baby sheep and we've got baby goats, and all the little babies kind of grow up in this little, think of a kids club, right? And then as they reach into their teens, then we put them in the general population of all the other animals, ostriches, zebras, you name it. We've got it all, man. And Pickles, you know, he's a cool cat, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a little cow, but he's got a toupee and he's curious. And I'd go in there and I would, you know, take some videos of Pickles and some of the baby goats and sheep, and I'd send it to my daughter, Chloe. And, so recently I was at the ranch and I was like, you know what? I should go and send a updated video of the goats to my daughter. And so there I am making some videos. So I go there and I see Pickles. Pickles comes up, and Pickles now at this point has grown its horns, right? And Pickles comes up to me and I go in through the gate, and Pickles is like really close to me at this point, like really kind of walking with me. And I wouldn't say it's nudging me, but it's definitely sniffing me. And I'm like, maybe you can sniff my dog Cookie on me or something. And so I'm walking there, and every time I turn my back on Pickles, it kind of tends to want to charge a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so anyways, lo and behold, as I get to the other animals there, and I got my video camera out, my video camera. Yeah, I got my fucking camcorder on my shoulder. I've got my iPhone out, and I'm making a video of all the other animals who are growing. Pickles is kind of nudging me. Now, remember, I said this thing's got horns now. And so all of a sudden I realized Pickles wants some beef with me. Pickles got beef with me, Ed. And I couldn't figure out why this motherfucker had beef with me. And so I'm like, all right, well, I know jujitsu, and I know the single leg takedown, I know the double leg takedown, but this motherfucker has 4 legs. So it fucked me up right there. I can do a rear naked chokehold, I can do a guillotine chokehold, but once again, it's a cow. It's got a really fucking big head and neck. And how exactly do you take a cow's back? I don't know. And so all of a sudden I find myself in a position where I don't know how to handle this cow. And so now I'm trying to back out of this giant pen area, and Pickles is rushing me and trying to hit me with the horns, right? And I'm like, motherfucker, all of a sudden I've become a matador, and I didn't even sign up for this position. And so Pickles got aggressive with me. I was able to kind of fight my way out and hold him by the horns and kind of twist his head down, and finally work my way out of the gate, locked the gate, and I was like, fuck you, Pickles. Don't know what's gotten into, but we're not friends anymore. So then I stomp back to the barn, the main barn, and I see homie Kane. Now, Kane is a cool cat. He's our ranch manager and CEO, and he makes sure that all the people on the ranch are doing their thing and all the animals are doing their thing. And of course, he keeps that ranch secure. I'm like, Kane, you won't believe what happened, bro. Pickles got ornery with me. The fucking thing was trying to attack me. I had to fight my way out, and jujitsu doesn't work on a fucking cow. And Kane is laughing. He's like, bro, you should have told me. I would have told you. I'm like, told me what? He goes, well, a couple months ago, Pickles' balls dropped, and he's got all this testosterone coursing through his body, and he's challenging everybody who goes in there to see him. So you got to go in there with like another person or two, or you got to stomp on the ground really hard to scare him. I was like, well, fuck, no one told me, bro. They should have put a sign out there that says, watch out, your fucking pet Pickles cow is about to attack you. So anyways, that was the story. But Pickles now is an ornery motherfucker. So if y'all ever come out to Black Site Ranch, just know that those cows with the horns will fuck your shit up, because once they have testosterone coursing through their bodies, they're ready to fight. So on with the show, let's get started. I want to tell you about the single biggest factor that is going to determine success in your life. Now, for many people, this applies whether it's a relationship, this applies in fitness, this applies in your business, in your money, right? And this was a topic that I actually teed up for the Legacy Tribe. I've got a coaching program called the Legacy Tribe, and I teed this up, and everybody loved this, and they were like, holy fuck, you just explained why I am not able to reach my goals, and I keep pivoting and zigging and zagging and find myself in the same place over and over again. And so I want to break this down for you. It's like, this thing is so important that it's more important than habits. It's more important than your morning routine. It's more important than, having a high level of productivity. It's more important than having a network of connected people. This thing that I'm going to share with you will get you to your goals, or the absence of this thing will keep you broke and fat and in a shitty relationship, because you'll find yourself stuck where you are year after year, not knowing why you have all these half-started things, right? A half-started goal, fitness goal, business goal, money goal, relationship goal, but nothing ever crosses the finish line. Now, this thing that I'm talking to you about is called singularity of focus. And when I look back on my life and my career as an entrepreneur, the companies that I've started, the companies that I've taken equity and invested in, the companies that I've built and sold, and I look at my coaching clients who are massively successful, who are building multiple 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure companies, all have a high level of singularity of focus. They are able to control their ability to be impulsive. They are able to say no to opportunities, and I say that in quotes because the more things you can say no to, the more you can say yes to the one thing that you started. Think how many times in life or in business you've started this thing and you told everyone around you, man, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to create the social media channels. I'm going to create a logo and a brand, and you start doing it. You start posting. Maybe you create the logo and the brand, and maybe you even put a product out there. You create the course, or you buy the supplements, or you, whatever it is you do. And then all of a sudden, a few months go by, and then you've zigged and zagged and moved on to a new thing. The reason that happens is you are unable to stay focused on task. The reason you're unable to stay focused on task is because you have not developed the muscle of consistency and saying no to false opportunities. False opportunities are another way of saying the idea fairy. Now look, if you're a creative person like I am, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a person that sees problems in the world and you're like, I think I can solve it, that's a good thing. But if you're a creative person and you see problems in the world and you think you can solve it, the unfortunate thing is we keep coming up with many ideas as creative people. And the good idea fairy continues to visit us and visit us and visit us over and over again. And each time we start something new, the good idea fairy comes and goes, hey, have you thought about doing this instead? Have you thought about doing this instead? And so many of you out there probably have multiple irons in the fire, and none of them are really making you money, producing results, getting a brand out there, and you're just like burning the candle on every end, trying to run 3, 4, 5 little businesses that really aren't producing. Fuck, man, it's hard enough to actually get one business built to produce. How in the world are you going to get multiple ideas to fruition? Now, you're probably going, well, B, that sounds pretty contradicting because you've got multiple companies. How do you do it? Guys, quick interruption to the show. Let me tell you all about the Keuilian Wellness Shot. If you're like me and you care about your health, hydration, and building a strong immune system so you can stay active and you can get after it in life, then you want to try the Keuilian Wellness Shot. I used to take 11 different supplements in the morning, things like vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B12, echinacea, ginger, and a whole bunch more. Now it's all included in the Keuilian Wellness Shot. I want to send you a 30-day supply for 50% off. Just go to Keuilian.com, use the code word Bedros, my name, to get 50% off. You'll also get free shipping. You get a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee, and $1 of every order goes to Shriners Children's Hospital. And when you use the code word Bedros and do the subscribe and save, which is a Keuilian Tribe program, every month you'll get a fresh supply of Keuilian Wellness Shots for an additional 20% off and free shipping, and $1 of every monthly order will go to Shriners Children's Hospital. So go to Keuilian.com, use code word Bedros, and take advantage of this amazing offer. Now back to the show. Yes, I've got multiple companies now, but when I started out, I had one company, right? I had my personal training businesses, my personal training studios, and I focused on that. I was the founder, I was the CEO, I was the head guy, and I delegated to my employees who ran my 5 gyms, right? And I made sure I ran the marketing, I ran the sales, I ran the teams, I ran the processes. I had many ideas during that era in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Many ideas came to me, but I had the ability to say no to all those ideas so I could say yes to the one thing, Premier Results, right? And that's how I built and sold my gyms in the beginning. Years later, as Fit Body Bootcamp came to be, I knew once again that if I'm going to build this international fitness franchise, and this franchise is going to be out there serving humanity, and we're going to have hundreds of franchise locations worldwide, then I need to have, again, singularity of focus. And so by this point, I was able to build a leadership team, right? And when you build a leadership team, now you can show your vision to the leader, make sure you've got the right leader in place, person who has bought into your vision, person who has a high level of focus and consistency and a high level of discipline to execute on the things that you want them to. And you can task that leader to continue to build your business with you, right? And as the business got bigger, I was able to hire a full-time CEO, Bryce Henson. And as I hired Bryce Henson, I was then able to create my other companies, right? Because now I can delegate Fit Body Bootcamp to Bryce, and he knows the vision, he knows the mission, he knows the day-to-day actions he needs to take, and then I can go on and create Keuilian. I can go on and invest in Fuel Hunt. And I share this with you because it might sound hypocritical or contradicting that I'm telling you to stay focused on one thing when I myself am out there doing many things, but that's because I have leaders in every single one of my companies. I have leaders in the Squire program, in the Project, Fuel Hunt, Keuilian Supplements, Fit Body Bootcamp, the software company that I have equity in. All these things are things that I am no longer leading. I am funding, I am using my network, I am using my platform, I'm using my connections, and I'm using my experience that I've developed over the years to help time collapse the results for all these companies by sharing and mentoring and coaching my leaders. But I'm not in the trenches anymore. But if you're still in the trenches, my friend, you need massive singularity of focus. You have to be an expert at saying no to all the things that don't matter, that are going to deviate you from this one thing. And so someone asked me on the Legacy Tribe Zoom training that we were doing a couple weeks ago, where this whole idea came from. They said, well, how do I develop singularity of focus? Like, what's the thing I got to do? I said, well, it's simple. It's simple. You have to set a goal of what you want this current thing to do. For example, let's say that you want to have a 6-pack, right? You want to have a 6-pack. Well, if you don't have a 6-pack now and you have a gut and you're overweight, you find yourself in a position where you're eating shitty foods, you don't really understand your macros, you're working out haphazardly, you have no consistency in terms of your training, what's the best thing you can do? The best thing you can do is pick the one area that you want to focus on. Because if your workouts aren't dialed in, your nutrition isn't dialed in, and you want a 6-pack, odds are you're going to have a need for high levels of singularity of focus. Well, how does that happen? That happens when you decide that I'm going to pick one area and I'm really going to dive into it. So if someone says, hey, I want a 6-pack, I would say, guess what? Six packs, abs in general, are built in the kitchen. So why don't we focus on your diet? Just keep working out the way you're working out, haphazardly, whatever, inconsistently, and let's dial in your macros. What goes into your pie hole? Because if we can control the amount of protein, carbs, and fats that you eat, so that we can start burning off more fat, we can retain as much muscle as possible, your abs will over time appear, right? And as you have dialed in your macros in your eating, now on top of that, you can layer in a more consistent and refined and dialed in training program as well, right? But if all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm going to start eating right, I'm going to start training like 7 days a week, I'm going to start taking all these different supplements, whoa, slow down, tough guy. You're like not even close to having that level of consistency or discipline. You're setting yourself up for failure by trying to do 3 new things at once. Supplementation, eating right, and working out religiously. Come on. You just got off the couch. We could still see your booty mark on the fucking leather couch in your mom's basement. The TV remote control is still warm from all the fucking dialing of channels you've been doing. Why don't we slow down and just eat right? Get your nutrition dialed in. As your abs begin to appear, also layer in a workout, also layer in supplements, also layer in whatever the next thing is. Maybe you want to do a fitness competition, right? Whatever the next thing is. It's no different than when someone like has done no combatives and they're like, you know what? I'm going to start learning boxing. I'm going to start learning jujitsu. I'm going to start learning fucking Muay Thai. I'm going to start easy. You don't even know your left hand from your right hand yet. How are you going to learn all that when you, again, just got off the couch? And I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm letting you know in any area of life, if you truly want to succeed, you have to have singularity of focus. And the way you're going to get singularity of focus is by setting a goal, an outcome goal, right? For example, when I wrote my book, Man Up, I was like, all right, my goal is to write a book that's going to sell at least 50,000 copies before I write the next book. Now, we're already near 100,000 copies, and I'm writing my next book. But could you imagine if all of a sudden 10,000 copies of Man Up sold, I start writing my next book? Look, it's fun to write a book. It's fun to create the chapter outlines. It's fun to start searching for a publisher. It's fun to do all those things. You know what's not fun? Trying to market and sell and promote your book. It's not fun. It's not sexy. You get a lot of rejection. But that is the thing I got to do. And so I set out to sell 50,000 copies of my book as quickly as I can to make it an international bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller, so that I can give myself permission to write my next book. Same with all of my companies. I set a goal and I say, I'm going to focus on that goal once that goal is achieved. And it's a goal that is quantifiable and a goal that is reachable in a certain amount of time, assuming that me and my team stay focused on it, right? So I'll set the goal, we'll do the work, and if we reach that goal, then I'll plug in a leader, and then I'll move on to the next business or product or service that I'm going to start. That is how you develop singularity of focus. You have to say no to a lot of opportunities that come up so that you can say yes to the one thing that you were excited about. Otherwise, here's what happens. And I don't know if I heard this guy on Andrew Huberman's show or if I heard about him somewhere else, but he's a brain neurosurgeon, right? He's a brain surgeon, and he's worked on so many people's brains. And he's like, dude, the neural pathways on people who have started things and have not finished it looks like a disjointed, broken up railroad track. Like a railroad track that's so broken up that you would not risk driving a train on, right? He says, however, the brains that had these perfectly developed what look like railroad tracks, right? Clean, symmetrical, straight. He's like, as I spoke with these people afterwards, they were people that started things and finished it. So what ends up happening, what this guy found, this neurosurgeon, this brain surgeon, is that the more times you start and stop things and never finish them, the more incomplete neural pathways you create in your brain, and you start creating the habits of starting and not finishing, which is the opposite of singularity of focus. Each time you start something and you finish it, the more beautiful neural pathways that you create, which also develop the habits that this guy or gal starts something and finishes it. So you're more likely to start the next thing and finish it, right? Which is what you want. So what does that tell us then? That tells us that if you go back in life and think about all the things that you started, pick a handful of them and finish them, right? Like if you started your journey to fitness and you're like, I'm gonna weigh X number of pounds and be this % body fat and have abs, go back and finish that. Get to that goal. Get to that goal. If you're like, man, I'm going to build my business to X number of dollars or X number of customers or X amount of profits, go back and do that. All the things that you've quit and you've given up on, go back and restart, because when you restart and you complete that, you start developing the muscle of focus, of impulse control, and a habit that leads you to winning in every area of your life. So I'm here to tell you guys and gals, the number one thing you can do is ignore the good idea fairy. Say no to as many potential opportunities that sound sexy so that you can say yes to the one thing that you were so hyped up about a few months ago before you lost steam and momentum. You know, there's another book out there called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. And Turning Pro is exactly what it is. He talks about how the amateur starts and stops. The amateur kind of is half in, half out. The amateur, soon as they hit a little bit of adversity or hardship, they shift gears, pivot, and move on to the next thing. The pro, on the other hand, is committed to the outcome. See, the amateur is just involved in the idea of being successful as long as everything is stacked in their favor. The committed, the pro, is like, you know what? Whether things work out or not, whether I reach adversity or hardship or not, I will keep pushing forward until my desired outcome is achieved. That person develops singularity of focus. That person has impulse control. That person has developed the habit muscles of consistency and discipline. That person has a track record of winning and a streak of confidence, which is a high level of reputation with self that sets you up to win in other areas of life, right? So if you want to know how do you really win in life, the best way to win in life is to start something, set a goal, and finish it, achieve that goal. And if it's in business, then you can set up a leader and then move on to the next thing. If it's in your fitness, then you'll be super congruent with the man or the woman that you want to be. And you'll be a shining, walking, talking example of awesomeness instead of hypocrisy. And in your relationship, when you said, I do, now you should do it. Do the things that you promised your mate in front of others so that you can be successful in that relationship. I'm not surprised that we have a 57% divorce rate. We have a 57% divorce rate because I believe the promise that those two people make in front of their guests, their friends, their family, and then God, they end up not following through on those promises. Could be financial, could be in the areas of commitment, could be in consistency, could be in communication. The day that you start applying singularity of focus in any area of your life is the day that you start winning in those areas of life, and then you can compound that success. So with that said, guys, the number one thing you can do is say no to other things, opportunities that are false opportunities that are just disguised as fake good ideas because they're going to temporarily give you this dopamine hit of excitement. And when you say no to that, you say yes to the opportunity that you were once excited about, that you know has an opportunity to grow and can add value to humanity, but you must do the work. That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. And also I want to invite you to Bedros Keuilian Live, taking place September 13th and 14th in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. We've got some amazing speakers, entrepreneurs. We got amazing fitness folks, 7-time Mr. Olympia, Flex Lewis, Thomas DeLauer. We've got some great leaders who are going to teach you the skills of leadership, communication, casting a vision, because if it's in the area of faith, family, fitness, and finances. I want to see you guys win. So click the link somewhere in the description box of this video or of this podcast, and you guys can join us September 13th and 14th. VIP tickets are almost sold out. We have regular seating left, general admission, and VIP bronze, but the VIP platinum is almost sold out. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. And always remember this, that average is the enemy, that success is your responsibility, and change will take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch. I'll see you next time.